Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we have we're going to be discussing which of the energy precons I think is better, and which one I think you guys should be using for your basis for an energy-based deck. Now, two things before we get started: make sure you subscribe and like this video and everything like that. Share it around. Everything helps support the channel, helps move us towards being able to make Magic the Gathering YouTube being my kind of full-time job, which would be amazing. I would love to be able to do that, and people seem to like these videos, so let me know what you think of the video as well. The second one here is that we're going to be talking about energy first up. So energy is not a huge mechanic, and it is barely used. Dating back to Kaladesh, there's been stuff since Kaladesh, while both the Fallout set and the Modern Horizons 3, obviously, that we're talking about here, contained a whole bunch of different energy cards. Is not a mechanic that is very likely to get a huge amount of support going forward, I don't think. We'll have to see if any of this kind of changes after feedback from Modern Horizons 3 and stuff, but we'll see. As you can hear, my voice is kind of dying a little bit as well, so apologies if I sound a little Darth Vader-y. It is a fun mechanic though, and there are a bunch of cards from back in Kaladesh and stuff that you can use for it. It's quite aggressive, quite fun. However, also, there's a whole bunch of energy cards back in green from Kaladesh, but they've kind of moved it more towards Jeskai colors in the most recent Modern Horizons 3 and in Modern Horizons 3 Commander too. So it's a very fun mechanic. It's not an insanely well supported mechanic yet. It's not a mechanic that you'll likely see a huge amount of support going forward, as opposed to some other mechanics. Kind of think of it similar to like Eldrazi. There's not very likely going to be very many Eldrazi kind of going forward unless they bring Eldrazi back, but there is a whole bunch of kind of backlog that you can use for it to potentially, get some support from back there. All right, so with that out of the way, we're going to start by talking about the Science Precon. So this one here was the one that came with Fallout, so it was one of the Fallout ones. It is, primarily almost energy, but it's very split. It's mostly energy, but also mostly artifact based. And you'll notice with a whole bunch of the different cards here that they are very kind of like an artifact side theme that almost becomes, the main theme instead. So like Madison Lee does stuff with artifacts and energy, but like Owen Lynn's here. Just stuff to do with artifacts. We've got the Whirler Rogue here, artifacts, the like Sentinel Sarah Leon's here, artifacts as well whenever, artifacts enter and stuff. And then like, straight up Steel Overseer, Solemn Silk-Camariem, Loyal Apprentice, a lot of different artifact stuff for creating different artifact tokens and artifact matters kind of area. It's not as energy based as the creative energy one. Energy is almost kind of the side theme to artifacts. However, there are a lot of really nice cards in here. The Nuka-Cola is crazy good for like any kind of deck almost. With anything that's got kind of food tokens by itself, it's really good, but then even in this deck it's pretty decent. We've got mechanized production here as a win con, as well as being able to enable you to create a whole bunch of artifacts with that too. A lot of really kind of great stuff kind of built into it around artifacts. We've got Panharmonicon as well, and like the artifact lands. There are some very nice kind of energy based cards as well. So like Liberty Prime is really, really nice. I think Liberty Prime's like a really great interesting artifact / energy based commander there. The automated assembly line I think is good with artifact creatures giving you energy. Lots of very nice kind of artifact based and energy based stuff in the precon. I honestly really like Liberty Prime. I think Liberty Prime's a very fun and very interesting potential commander, or even, just in the kind of 99 for an energy-based deck, as long as you can maintain having, 2 energy. But even then, you could potentially have clues or something like that, where even the base deck here has some clue-based stuff. So like James is clue-based, and I think there's one more who my brain's kind of missing at the moment. I think there's one more clue-based one. Or maybe it wasn't in this one. Maybe it was the other one that had the other clue-based one. Either way, you know, some clue-based stuff, and then you can use that to kind of sacrifice for Liberty Prime, or even treasures you can sacrifice. I do think that the mana base is worse on this one as well. There's a lot more kind of tap lands and stuff, especially because it does have all those artifact lands. Now, the artifact lands obviously kind of work really well into the deck because of the fact that there's a whole bunch of stuff around artifacts. So, like, say, for example, you know, like stuff to do with your artifacts, or like, say, who is it? Like, where is she? The Sentinel Sarah Leons. When an artifact enters the battlefield, so they would proc off of all of your artifact lands as well. So, you know, it's a lot of kind of artifact based stuff. Now, compare that to the creative energy precon. So this one here is a lot more kind of token based and some more kind of copying stuff as well. So say, for example, like, you know, your face commander Satya here, creating tapped and attacking tokens of creatures. Yes, it's got energy stuff in there as well, but, you know, being able to create tapped and attacking tokens, there's some clear ways that you can create some really interesting stuff with that by copying some of your ETB characters, or copying, you know, some big creatures and anything like that. Obviously not legendaries, because it doesn't create a non-legendary version of it, but, you know, some very interesting cards that you can potentially kind of copy with that. You know, you've got other artifact stuff in here. So like the Angel Invention there, Kaith, the secondary commander here, around Fabricate and creating server artifact tokens and stuff. You know, Professional Facebreaker as well is a crazy kind of reprint there. Even Silver Quill Lecturer, while it is a you know, it's got that demonstrate ability, so you can make copies of stuff. So there's so many different ways for you to be able to create copies and tokens and stuff built into the primary deck. Even Legion Loyalty over here is creating copies with the myriad kind of ability there. It is a little bit more kind of energy focused, so you've got some like nice energy reprints in here. So Gontides, you've got Aetherworks Marvel as well. Some of the core stuff over here, Lightning Runner, creating energy whenever you attack and stuff. You know, like a lot of the kind of base stuff in here is energy based. So when you create clones of it, say for example, the Whirl of Virtuoso here, when you create a clone of it, it's going to create 3 energy when it comes in. You know, lots of very interesting ways to get more energy and to be able to create more stuff there, as well as, you know, as I said, kind of tokeny stuff. So there's a lot more kind of energy based stuff built in here, especially because they were able to reprint some of that stuff from back with Kaladesh. So like Aether Geode Miner there, Aether Storm, Rock, you know, any of the Aether stuff is very much Kaladesh. So there's also just some really good like base kind of reprints in here. So you've got like the Talismans to kind of help mana fix you there. You've got Farewell, which is a really kind of great reprint. Achroma's Will as a big kind of win con there. And the mana base I think is decent. I think it's a decent kind of mana base. You know, there's still, it's a decent mana base for an energy precon. For a precon, right? Like out of a lot of the precons, obviously the Doctor Who ones were like the best kind of mana bases. The LCI ones weren't too bad, but this energy one's not completely awful. Having stuff like Frostboil Snarl's not too bad. Port Town's not awful. Some, you know, stuff that enters kind of untapped is good. It's obviously, you know, still got the temples there and stuff. But, you know, even having like the lands here, the ping lands, or I can't remember, shock lands. No, not shock lands. Pain lands. The pain lands in here aren't going to be an awful thing. I think the mana base is slightly better than the science one, just purely because it doesn't kind of rely on having those artifact based lands which enter tapped. It's just got instead, you know, some decent kind of lands that either enter tapped or you know, check lands and stuff, which isn't awful in my opinion. All right, so down to which one I think is better. So having a look at them, the kind of pros and cons of each, the creative energy one I think is got, you know, it's missing some of the big energy stuff, and, you know, there's some energy stuff that you could potentially kind of add in here to kind of move it into an energy based deck, or you could even keep the energy as like a side theme and kind of focus more on, you know, tokens and token creatures and all that kind of stuff, with like Satya as the main commander there. You've got like Professional Facebreaker to be able to have the tokens come in from there, or like a Silver Quill Lecturer to create tokens. There's a lot of different kind of token based stuff in here, and being able to kind of copy stuff with Satya or whatever other token based copying stuff that you've got. You can potentially kind of copy a whole bunch of different things in here, and then you can keep the energy based stuff there as still like a way to be able to buff your stuff up, but kind of move away from being the primary focus. Or even like, this is the better one, in my opinion, to have as an energy-based precon, because of the fact that you've got like Gonti's and Aetherworks Marvel, which are two things that you're going to have to buy to add into the science precon if you want to keep that as the kind of like as a science, like, and as an energy precon. Overall, creative energy is definitely the winner, in my opinion, if you want to go towards energy being like at least a major mechanic, whether it's the primary focus or not. Major mechanic energy is the creative energy one is definitely better as an energy based precon. Now, if you want to go towards more artifact based energy stuff and everything like that, you've got the science precon. There are a lot of artifact based energy cards that aren't necessarily in here, like straight up, Gonti's and Aetherworks Marvel are two that would be huge in here. But it's primarily artifact focused. So, you've got to kind of switch a fair bit of stuff to kind of change it over to be energy based. But if you wanted to go more in regards to the artifact focus, then the science one's going to be good. In my opinion, I do think that the creative energy one is the way to go if you want to go having energy as your focus. Now, keep in mind, in regards to price, the Fallout one, the science one has been out for a bit longer. You're more likely to find it on sale. It is also a bit cheaper base. Like, this is $60 base as opposed to $69.25. So you're paying an extra $10 US for the creative energy one. However, less people are going to buy the creative energy one, in my opinion, than the other precons that are going to be coming out, the other Modern Horizons 3 precons. So it's likely that this ends up going on sale and you could get it pretty cheap down the line. So I'm not kind of treating them as too different in price. You are going to pay a bit more for the Commander, the Modern Horizons 3 one potentially, but they are both roughly around the same price. The other thing to kind of keep in mind, if we're talking about which one to use as a base, you're very likely wanting to pull cards from the other one. So if you've got the creative energy one, you're likely wanting to pull cards from the science one. And if you've got the science one, if you're going energy based, then you're going to pull cards from the creative energy one. Keep in mind, the Fallout decks have been out for quite a while, and honestly, most of the cards aren't too bad from the actual science precon. You've got like Nuka Cola is a bit more expensive. Panharmonicon is a little bit more expensive as well, but that's also if you're going, actually, no, Panharmonicon's going to be good. Potentially, there's a lot of different stuff that you could potentially use from that. A lot of the cards in here, especially around like the creatures and stuff, are relatively cheap to get. They might be a little bit harder to find because, they're like the only way to be able to get them is either someone's broken up their precon or the collector boosters or something. But overall, Fallout isn't a very expensive set, and there's a lot of cards in here that you could potentially want from it. So getting singles from the Fallout deck is likely going to be cheaper than getting some of the singles from the creative energy deck. For example, Gonti's and Aetherworks Marvel. Those two alone will make up a huge difference between the price of these two. But that's it for today, guys. Hopefully that's broken it down enough for you guys. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and goodbye. And apologies again about my voice. Have a great day and goodbye.